Hello everybody, welcome to today's video. Today we are going to talk about an interesting topic, the common mistakes or the common issues that a junior consultant would face in the first few months of their consulting career, right? Knowing these things would help you have a head start because as a consultant you don't have a honeymoon period. You would start right from day one. The evaluation starts right from day one, okay? So knowing these things will help you, and probably you will start thinking about solutions in your own ways. I will propose a few solutions, but you might see if there is something else that would work for you as well. Okay, so now let's get started. And before we jump into the first issue, of course, I would really appreciate if you press the like button and subscribe to the channel. That would mean a lot to me. Okay, now the first issue that I want to talk about is your love with numbers, right? Absolutely. Every consultant loves numbers, right? And the reason behind that is that majority of the consultants come from numbers heavy background, like MBA degrees, right? Who probably have scored 700, 750s in GMATs, right? Number two, a lot of consultants come from engineering backgrounds. A lot of these guys have other degrees where quant is the major input, right? A lot of these guys also have other degrees which are quant oriented. So all in all, a lot of consultants have this quantitative bent of mind. Now, nothing wrong with that because you keep analyzing numbers day in and day out. But the most important thing that you need to realize is that you are not there to analyze numbers. You are there to solve a client's problem. Imagine Tata Punch is your client. Tata Punch comes to you and says that, hey, we have been sponsoring IPL. We have been expecting an increase in sales over the last 1 month, but nothing of that sort happened. Can you please tell us how do we fix it, right? The question is about how do they fix their sales of Tata Punch, right? The question is not about, hey, can you please analyze this data and give me recommendations? No. The question is always about a problem, a business problem. But the solution can come from data, but if the data is not available, that's absolutely fine. You go and search for some other kind of information or some other metrics which can help you make that decision. So you can't go back to the client and say that, hey, I don't have this data, so I can't solve your problem. No consultant will ever do that. But a junior consultant will go to his or her manager and say that, hey, by the way, manager, I don't have access to this data. So looks like I will have some difficulties in solving this problem. Then the manager will brainstorm with you and say that, hey, by the way, it's okay. Think about these 2-3 alternatives. Now the problem there is that the manager is doing all the thinking and you are just executing. Nobody likes that kind of an environment. If you go back to your manager again with another problem like that, the manager will be, oh my God, this guy, Pawan, is basically being an executioner. He's not able to think on his feet. So you won't get good ratings. I hope you don't get into that category quickly. And this happens very, very, very quickly. So you need to start understanding the fact that, hey, data is not the answer. Data is a means to get to the answer. If that means is not available, you will go check for another means. One of the ways in which you can practice this thing is by solving a lot of cases. When you solve a case, for example, if Jio is planning to enter Sri Lankan market for its mobile operations, the first thing that you would ask is, hey, do we have any data regarding Sri Lankan market? Imagine in a hypothetical world, if that data is not available, what will you do? Right? Probably you will interview a few folks who are working in Sri Lanka and who might have a good experience about the Sri Lankan market itself. So don't worry about the data to start off with. Worry about the problem what you are solving and what is the best way to reach to that answer. Okay. Now let's move on to the second problem that a lot of consultants face. Early stage consultants. That is communication. Well, as a consultant, you speak with your clients, you speak with your managers, your partners day in and day out. So what's the issue with communication? The problem is that you tend to speak about the things that you do, right? That's our second nature. But we forget that we need to speak about what the others are actually expecting from us or what the others want to hear, right? Now, let me take a simple example and illustrate about it, okay? Imagine that, hey, you are working on a specific product and that product is having some kind of issues. Now, let me talk through a specific example and illustrate this fact. Okay, your manager has asked you, hey Pawan, you have been organizing this event. So can you please tell me a bit about what your experience has been so far? Then you will say that, hey, Now, this has been a great experience. I've worked on similar kind of projects before, but this was like a very different experience. I had a lot of problems to start off with getting sponsors on board because they were not convinced about my experience. Then I had to convince that the team and I have relatively quite a bit of experience on the table and we can pull this off. Then I had to start negotiating with these people, right? Then finally, on the day of execution, we had a lot of problems with respect to. So you will go on and on and on. What's the question your manager has asked? Your question is, hey, can you please tell me about your experience, right? The simplest way to start off with this is, hey, at a very high level, yes, this is a fantastic experience. And these are the three things that I liked about it. Number one, I liked this entire experience because I got a chance to learn about negotiations, right? I could convince somebody by giving and taking a few bits and pieces here and there. The second thing, I learned about the importance of perseverance, right? It was not about my experience, but I could push so many times and realize that the end goal is very close. So I didn't want to give up, and I realized the importance of not giving up when I finally got there. Number three, something else. Done. This should be your answer, right? In the consulting world, people are expecting a very short form of an answer. That's an elevator pitch, right? If you can come up with an answer in 30 seconds, 60 seconds, that is pure gold. Nobody is expecting from you a 5-hour long conversation, right? You have to tell them the essence of whatever you are doing. The essence is the summary. But unfortunately, we all go back to what we have done from the base because we believe that what we are doing is absolutely important and others should know about it. Right? Even I make this mistake even now when somebody asks me what I do, I immediately get into the details. But over time, I realize that that doesn't work. People will lose interest very quickly. And when a consultant is speaking with his or her manager, then the managers have very limited amount of time. So you need to develop that thinking of top-down communication. I will link a video over here. Please go through what top-down communication actually means and see how you can start developing this. Again, case preparation, understanding how you can be precise with your communication will help you a lot. The other factor which can help you with being a top-down structured communicator is if you go into these MBB websites and start reading articles, every single report you will find at the top the summary of the entire report. Okay, that is super fun. You don't need to read the entire report. If you just read the top 4-5 lines, you will understand every single thing about that report. That's the beauty of it. Okay, start reading these things and you will slowly get to there. The third thing that I want to speak about is rapid responses. Okay, what do I mean by rapid responses? You stand in front of a client, you are having a casual conversation and the client will suddenly ask you, hey Pawan, what do you think about this? If you haven't thought about it before, you will have a blank face. And that blank face is definitely not a good idea. So you need to come up with something on the spot. The first best thing about that is, hey, if you prepare, nothing like that. But if you don't prepare, how do you deal with these situations? There is not many other jobs out there which will require you to think on your feet as much as a consulting job. Because you never know what the question a client would be asking. You are always progressing forward with respect to solving a particular problem, right? So there are always unexpected challenges that you keep facing. Your partner is asking, your manager is asking, your client is asking, hey, so what do you think? So the first and the most important thing that you need to know is that at any given point in time, you need to be prepared with a very short pitch, like we talked about, a 30-second elevator pitch, about the particular analysis that you are doing. Right? As an early stage consultant, you will be running a lot of analysis. So you need to know what the analysis is about and what could be the potential recommendations. So that's a super, super important thing for you to have. Otherwise, it would be a very awkward conversation and you just cannot say every time that, hey, let me get back after consulting my team. That doesn't work. The other way for you to do it, and this is precisely the reason why consulting interviews are also structured like this. Right? You don't know the question what's going to come, but you still need to give a structured answer. So having some kind of background information about that industry, having an overarching assessment about the problem would help you a lot. And this specific problem can also be solved if you are top down in your communication. right? Because when the client is asking, hey, what's your thoughts about this particular analysis, you immediately don't jump into the details. You will start saying that, hey, this is the first analysis outcome, or this is my first thought with respect to the analysis, this is my second thought with respect to the analysis, and this is my third thought with respect to the analysis, right? So that is how you start approaching these situations. It doesn't matter if you don't know, but you still are thinking on your feet and you are coming up with these three most important things. Most of the times, if you have two, you will come up with the third one automatically. The third one could be, hey, next steps, or the third one could be, hey, this is the potential outcome, or the third one could be something else, right? But by the time you come up with the first two, the third one will automatically be populated in your mind. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got the three problems, right? Number one, data, your love with data. Number two, your communication issues, the top-down communication, which doesn't come naturally to a lot of us. Number three, we are talking about, hey, how do you rapidly respond to a particular problem which you haven't thought about? Okay, so please take away these three things. There are a few solutions in this particular video as well. You also try to come up with your own solutions and please comment on this video if you have something that worked for you in the past. Thank you so much guys for all your support and look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.